Hi, I'm Anna, and welcome back to the D3 Audible Cheat Sheets, where we continue with Burgundy. If you're a D3 student, here's the quiet truth about Burgundy winemaking: it's not flamboyant, but it's intensely consequential. Burgundy's best producers don't aim to make a style, they aim to translate a site in a marginal climate into a wine that tastes inevitable. This episode is about how they do that for white wines and for Pinot Noir, and why the technical decisions you're about to hear are directly linked to style, quality, and price. Burgundy permits acidification or deacidification within EU limits, but it is rarely practiced. The more common adjustment historically was chaptalization. If musts do not have enough sugar to reach minimum alcohol, or more often the style desired, winemakers will chaptalize because more alcohol increases the perceived body of the wine. This used to be regular, but with warmer growing seasons and better canopy management, it has become less necessary. The maximum enrichment is plus 1.5 to 2%. Harvest and sorting are quality gates. In the Côte d'Or, almost all grapes are hand harvested, and certainly for better quality wines. Sorting on tables is typical to remove diseased, damaged, or underripe fruit, especially important in a cool climate where one storm can change everything. Pressing is usually whole bunch. Stems help drainage, which allows gentler pressing and cleaner juice. Grapes are typically pressed immediately rather than given skin contact. Chardonnay is not particularly aromatic, and producers generally want to avoid extracting tannins from skins. Then comes clarification. For high quality wine, the must is usually clarified by sedimentation. The level of solids left in the juice varies with the winemaker's view on the flavors those solids contribute. Less expensive wines may be clarified by faster methods. Now, here's a very Burgundy specific modern practice. Some producers deliberately use hyperoxidation. The logic is counterintuitive but exam relative. By exposing the must to oxygen early, they aim to create a final wine that is less prone to oxidation later. This practice is partly a response to the criticism that protecting the must too much from oxygen during production contributed to the problem of premature oxidation or premox. Fermentation choices split by quality level and philosophy. Ambient yeast fermentation is common, but some producers inoculate with cultured yeast, especially for high volume regional wines where reliability is critical. Ambient yeast is more prevalent at higher classification levels because winemakers believe it encourages terroir expression, and they're prepared to monitor closely and intervene, for example, by warming a sluggish ferment. Fermentation vessels also shape style. Inexpensive and some mid priced wines are often fermented in stainless steel or concrete, with temperatures around 16 to 18 degrees Celsius. That temperature range preserves primary fruit and avoids banana flavors associated with cooler ferments. These wines are aged in the same vessels or in older barrels. More expensive wines, including some expensive Bourgogne Blanc from high quality producers, are typically fermented and aged in barrel. This creates a creamier, more rounded style. Fermentation temperatures in barrel can rise to around 20 degrees Celsius. Maturation is typically 8 to 12 months in barrel on fine lees. New oak or a proportion of new oak add flavors like vanilla and clove and contribute texture. And here is the hierarchy you need to know because it's a classic D3 cause and effect. Regional wines often see little new oak. 20 to 25% new oak is common at village level, 30 to 50% at Premier Cru, and 50% and above at Grand Cru, though 100% is not unheard of. Barrel size matters too. The standard cask is the 228-liter Burgundy piece. Some producers use larger barrels, 500 to 600 liters, reducing the surface to volume ratio. The result is a subtler impact of oak flavor and oxidation. After alcoholic fermentation, malolactic conversion usually happens. If a fresher character is desired, a proportion of the wine can have mallow blocked. Mallow can occur in neutral vessels or oak. During maturation, producers may stir the lees, bâtonnage, to reduce reductive notes and add creamy texture. White wines are more often filtered than reds in Burgundy because haze is easily visible and commercially undesirable. In the early 2000s, reports emerged that some white Burgundies, especially from 1996 onwards, were showing advanced flavors and deeper colors after a short time in bottle. This became known as premature oxidation, premox. Multiple causes have been proposed. Changes in vineyard practices leading to higher yields and different grape chemistry, warmer vintages or later picking, over clean must from pneumatic presses, overzealous bâtonnage, lower sulfur dioxide at bottling, or cork quality and changes in cork treatment. The problem remains, though many reports suggest it is at much lower levels than the late 1990s wines. Many producers modified practices to reduce this risk. And this is not only a white Burgundy issue, similar problems have been reported elsewhere. So for D3, Premox is important because it links winemaking decisions, packaging, and market confidence directly to perceived quality and price. Now let's talk about red winemaking. Pinot Noir is delicate, aromatic, and relatively low in tannin. It must be vinified carefully. The central aims are to preserve primary fruit and avoid overwhelming that fruit with too much new oak. Sorting is common for all but the least expensive wines, and it becomes essential when rot or hail has been an issue. Grapes may enter the fermenter as whole bunches or be destemmed. Whole bunch fermentation is one of Burgundy's defining stylistic debates. Historically, it was normal before destemmers. In the 1980s, Henri Jaeger's preference for destemming influenced many quality minded producers, and attitudes shifted strongly in that direction. In recent years, whole bunch fermentation has re emerged in popularity. Proponents argue whole bunches aid aeration and add perfume, freshness, and fine tannins. But if stems are unripe, green astringent tannins can be extracted. And in warm vintages, the resulting lower acidity would be unwelcome. Many producers therefore use a proportion of whole bunch depending on the vineyard and the vintage. A perfect example of Burgundy's no formula approach. Pinot Noir is low in anthocyanins, so cold soaking for hours to a few days is common to maximize color extraction. Most producers rely on ambient yeast. Fermentation usually takes place in small open top vessels which suit the two key cap management techniques, pumping over and punching down. Cap management is not just extraction, it's hygiene and stability. The cap must be regularly broken up to introduce oxygen needed for yeast metabolism, avoid reduction and reductive sulfur compounds to which Pinot Noir is prone, avoid acetic acid formation, extract color, tannin, and flavor, and regulate temperature. In a healthy ferment, must temperature reaches around 30 degrees Celsius. Most producers use a combination of pumping over and punching down. Post fermentation maceration length depends on fruit ripeness and the desired style. Longer periods, 2 to 3 weeks, are used for wines with more concentration and structure. Pressing may use horizontal pneumatic presses or vertical basket presses. Free run and press wine are often kept separate, then may be blended back together before bottling, depending on tannin quality and balance. Wine is racked into 228-liter oak barrels for maturation. Aging periods of 12 to 20 months are common for premium and super premium wines. Less expensive wines may see less than a year. New oak proportion varies widely, and Burgundy shows everything from no new oak to 100% new oak at the highest level. which is why you must always connect oak decisions to style and producer intent rather than assuming a single regional norm. Malolactic conversion is usually spontaneous and takes place in spring following harvest as cellars warm after winter. Mid price wines may be fined and lightly filtered before bottling, but many higher level wines may not be. That is Burgundy winemaking as an examinable system, adjacent, restrained, adjustments, restraint, and control, with clear links to style and quality at each decision point. I do hope this helps with your prep, and I'll see you at the next episode where we continue with Burgundy.